AITA for suggesting we lock up the Christmas presents after what my niece did last year. Every year, my siblings and I, alongside our families, spend Christmas with our parents. We stay at their house for a few days. Everyone opens gifts together. It's hectic but a lot of fun. The kids enjoy having one big sleepover with their cousins. My mom likes having everyone home again. We all pitch in. It's a win-win. Last year, my brother married Sally. She has a 7-year-old daughter, Mindy. This was their first Christmas with us. It seemed like they were having a fun time. Christmas Eve, all the kids went to the finished basement to sleep. We told the kids to not open up gifts without us and to wake us up when they did. This was repeated several times. Once the kids were asleep, we put all the gifts under the tree and eventually went to bed ourselves. The next morning, around 6 a.m., I wake up early and head downstairs. I find the living room a mess. Half of the gifts were unwrapped. Several of them had been ripped from their boxes. There was Mindy, playing with some of the toys. Most of the ones weren't even hers. She knows how to read and they were all labeled. So she knew this. I was in shock. I went and got my brother, Sally, alongside the rest of the adults. Sally was super embarrassed. My mom was very upset. The other kids weren't up yet, so we tried to salvage what we could while Sally talked to Mindy. Not everything could be fixed and she had broken a couple of toys completely. The broken ones weren't even her own toys. Luckily, not everything was damaged, and even the boxes that were, the kids didn't notice. But my nephew, sister's son, had one of his big gifts destroyed and he was sad when everyone else got theirs while he was told he'd have to wait for a new one to come back in. Sally and my brother reimbursed everyone. Mindy didn't get to open gifts with everyone but joined the festivities later. She apologized, but kept making excuses. She said she didn't want to wait and she wanted to see what everyone else got. We're all preparing to go to my parents again this year. I put in the group chat that we should either lock the door to the living room this year or put a gate around the tree so no one can get to it. I didn't even name names. Just specifically said, no one. Sally and my brother got mad, accusing me of treating Mindy like a baby or an animal. I said I'm not, but this is a precaution so none of the kids are tempted. They said this isn't necessary and I'm holding a mistake over Mindy's head. I said no, I'm not. I'm trying to make sure we have no repeat. Because I know it'll be asked. Mindy doesn't have autism or ADHD, and even if she did, my daughter has ADHD and both my sister's kids are on the spectrum. They knew better. I don't think Mindy was malicious. She was only 6. But I do think precautions should be made. My parents agree with me and my brother is mad that I put it in their heads. AITA? NTA. I don't understand why your bro and Sil are upset. You aren't asking them to lock Mindy in a room or put an ankle bracelet on her, or even that they have a talk with her before Christmas to remind her not to open presents. You're not advocating for her to march through the house while you ring a bell and scream, shame, at her. You're suggesting that the door to the living room gets locked overnight. Nothing needs to be said to the kids because if they stay in bed, they won't even know. I mean, why wouldn't you do this? It kind of isn't even just about Mindy, although of course it's about Mindy. She ruined Christmas and broke a lot of other people's toys, but you have a bunch of small children who are notoriously bad with impulse control. Why not lock the door or put a gate around the tree? Any child could be tempted by sleeping parents and gorgeously wrapped presents under a lit tree. She's still only 7. Also, if your kid acts like a baby, they should be treated like one. Come on, Sally. The girl opened half the Christmas presents and you and your husband had to shell out to replace them. Wouldn't you rather lock the room than risk having to put out and feel embarrassed all over again? NTA. NTA. Hasn't your brother ever heard, once bitten, twice shy? It's bad enough to have one Christmas ruined. Taking precautions is far better than having them say, it'll never happen again, and then having it ruined again. It's just not worth the risk when a simple precaution can eliminate the risk. You may be showing some mistrust, but it's earned mistrust. NTA. Mindy didn't just open the gifts. She destroyed some of them. That is absolutely not normal for a 6-year-old. Locking the living room door is the sensible thing to do and shouldn't offend anyone. NTA. One ruined Christmas is plenty. And what you're suggesting isn't extreme. No temptation. No ruined gifts. No embarrassment. No wasted money. NTA. It's unfortunate you even have to lock the door, but your brother and stepsister need to discipline their daughter better. It's not just the fact she opened them early, it's that she broke other people's gifts. I'm laughing reading the contrarian weirdos in these comments. Which is even funnier given that I'm occasionally a contrarian weirdo. Your niece ruined Christmas. There's no getting around it. My parents and grandparents raised our families similarly. And opening presents is a big part of the celebration. Because parents want to see the joy in their children's faces. Mindy knew what she was doing was wrong. And chose to do it anyway. She was 6, not 2. She absolutely might do it again. Even if not, there's no reason not to take some kind of simple precaution. If the doors to the room with the tree can be locked, do it. Other similar precautions are perfectly reasonable. At worst, maybe get a motion sensor webcam and set up some kind of alert so that any motion in that room overnight wakes up the adults. Mindy's parents have absolutely no right to be upset. I'm shocked they aren't the ones suggesting it. But that's the difference between good parents and bad parents. Good parents teach discipline and know how to punish appropriately. They also know how to be realistic about their children and take precautions when putting their kids in situations that are known to tempt their willpower. NTA. It's only fair after what happened last year that you at least suggest taking precautions. I would recommending locking up your kids' gifts and/or getting up extremely early in case Mindy gets up early to try her Tasmanian devil routine again. My daughter was 4 last Christmas. You want to know how many presents she opened without anyone around or broke anything? Not one. NTA. Once bitten, twice shy, as others have said. NTA. Sounds like your brother and Sally are still embarrassed and just want everyone to forget what Mindy did. This is an untimely reminder of that, but ultimately makes complete sense in the circumstances. NTA. The door can be unlocked before any of the children get up in the morning. If all of the children are still asleep when the adults get up, then it's no harm, no foul, and no destroyed gifts. I realize this may be awkward and embarrassing for your brother and Sally, but Mindy's behavior ruined last Christmas. It makes me wonder if she had just never had such a holiday experience before and was overwhelmed by it all. I agree that her actions weren't malicious, but they were still so wildly inappropriate that it's reasonable to make extra precautions. This may also prevent other kids from playing any pranks on Mindy this year as payback. The adults may be afraid to talk about it, but the other kids aren't going to be, at least when left to their own devices. It makes sense to reset the way holiday gifts are handled from now on for everybody's sake. NTA. NTA. How else will kids learn? Showing explicitly that the gifts are off limits will make sure that no one has an ideas. Locking the living room for would be my vote. NTA. If your brother and Sally are so sure Mindy will follow the rules this year, then she will never Know the door to the living room is locked. Lock the door. Say nothing to any of the kids. If they all do as they're told, none of them will know anything was done differently. If they try to pull a Mindy this year, then that potential crisis is averted. NTA. You're taking a reasonable precaution because of something that happened the year before. You don't want to risk the other kids being let down again because of something that could have been prevented. NTA. As long as the living room door can be locked without creating a fire hazard, i.e. kids can get from the basement to the front door without passing through the living room. Locking the living room overnight is a great option. It would be one thing to deliberately rub it in everyone's faces that you're making the change, specifically to stop Mindy being a little brat. It's another to do it quietly to make sure Christmas isn't ruined for the other kids. Sure, Mindy opening everyone's presents early again like a little Grinch sounds egregious and unlikely. But it was egregious last year too, and she still did it. These are the consequences, and they're not that bad. NTA. The child is more than old enough to know she should not have done that and that she was doing something really wrong that deserved punishment. And she didn't get any punishment. Joined in all the festivities. And now, when she gets the chance to do it all again, her parents are angry that y'all don't trust her. NTA. It was my oldest child's birthday yesterday. My youngest saw the gifts and immediately went over to open one. I held my youngest and explained to them who they were for and why. And then when it was their turn to have a birthday part, there would be plenty of gifts just for them. Those gifts were untouched for the entire duration of the party. My youngest is 4. It's possible to teach self-control. And no, Mindy didn't want to see what everyone else got. She played with it. She wanted what everyone else got. NTA. The other children deserve not to have their Xmas ruined. Locking a door is simple, effective, and won't cause any harm. NTA. A 6-year-old should have been mature enough to know that not all of those gifts were hers, and if your brother and his wife want to get offended and think that their girl is being singled out by your suggestion to lock the doors, it's because she is, since she was unable to keep her hands to herself.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.